It's a new White Sox report with just another year Chicago White Sox. With Shane Smith headed to AAA, a brutal injury week for the Chicago White Sox in the outfield. Noah Schultz is dominating AAA, and the White Sox snap a losing streak in Kansas City. But first, if you're enjoying the return of baseball, please hit that like button. And the question of the day is, when will Noah Schultz make his debut? Comment your prediction down below. So Shane Smith was sent down to AAA earlier this week, and it's really a shame. I mean, he faced a lot of struggles early. He was an all-star last season, but he's just hasn't looked like himself to start this season. He's had no control whatsoever, and it's really a challenge to get hitters out when, even if you have great stuff, you can't locate pitches. Now, in his last performance, he struck out 8 guys, but again, the walks are killing him, forcing him not to be able to go deep in games. And it's really a struggle for him to continue to pitch in Chicago, which is why the White Sox sent him down. An 18.4% walk rate and a 10.80 ERA through 3 starts. That's just not good enough. And he hasn't looked good in that process either. It's not like it's been a bunch of bad luck. He just hasn't thrown enough strikes. And that's really why they needed to send him down to AAA to get some work in. And hopefully we can see him return to form later this season. But they really didn't have any other choice. They had to send him down to AAA because he just didn't look good. And they needed him to work on some stuff. And, you got to hope that with the ability to go down to AAA, not worry about getting major league hitters out, but strictly focus on working on that command, that he'll be able to return to form, hopefully quickly. Please share and subscribe to the page. We're looking to get to our first goal of 100. We're 26 away. We're getting close finally. So if you please subscribe to the channel, we'd really appreciate that. It was a brutal injury week for the White Sox. It started off with Austin Hayes and our dreaded hamstring injuries making their return. The soft tissue White Sox, unfortunately, are back. Pulling up lame, running down a ball in left field that hit the ground and unfortunately was part of the difference in the White Sox loss. Being that he only suffered a grade 1, he may not miss too much time, but he went on the injured list earlier this week. And then, of course, that's followed up immediately by Brooks Baldwin being announced he's going to miss the entire season because he needs UCL surgery. And that really, really hurts the White Sox because Baldwin was a guy who was pretty interesting in what he could put together over the last parts of 2 seasons. And it was important for Baldwin to have a chance to prove to the organization, the fan base, himself, that he could be a future member of the core of this team going forward. It's a huge missed opportunity for him through no fault of his own. And it really is just a bummer that he's going to miss the entire season. Because on the other hand, now you're starting to look at the influx of players the White Sox have in the minor leagues. There's a bunch of guys in AAA who will probably make their debuts this season, in whether that be in short stints or as future members of the long-term roster. And I think when you look at a guy like Brooks Baldwin, he's a guy, he could have been a part of the team. He could have been a part of the long-term future, and he still could be, right? Like he it's not like it's dead, but it's going to be a lot harder for him to get the at-bats he needs to prove it. And then Everson Pereira just couldn't get quite right after crashing into the wall in Miami, and he went on the IL with an ankle injury as well. Now, his looks to be a short-term stint. They reported on the broadcast today during the White Sox Royals first game of the series that he's looking good and he's getting closer to returning. So hopefully he won't have to spend too much time on the injured list. But it just, the hits keep coming. The outfield was already a weak point to start the season. It's getting more and more challenging because we're down to, your fifth, sixth outfielder when the top three weren't that strong to begin with. This was a point of contention all offseason that they needed to find more major league quality outfielders. They didn't do it. And here we are 2 weeks into the season, and we're already in hell with the injury bug. We also wanted to see another starting pitcher added, and they decided not to do that. Now, with the demotion of Shane Smith, they're already playing musical chairs, calling up Tyler Schweitzer briefly, and then calling up Duncan Dabbit. These are guys that are very unproven. They're not, our top of the rotation type arms going forward, at least not what we expect to be those guys. And so when you look at those two positions in general, drastic underperformance and injury combined, and it's a big reason why the White Sox are struggling. Now, the pitching has improved. The starting pitching in particular has improved from that first week, that first turn through the rotation where it was really rough. So there are some positive signs. Davis Martin has looked really good. Anthony Kay has pitched fantastic against the Royals last night and really is a big part of the reason why they were able to get the win. But it's going to be hard for this team to stay afloat early in the season with all these injuries. And then you throw Kyle Thielen, and that's really like three guys you saw contributing to the outfield rotation and your number one catcher all missing time early. And it's not a recipe to win games and stay even in remote contention. Now, it's too early to worry about whether or not the White Sox are playoff contenders. Hint, they're not. But if you're looking for them to hover around 500, these games matter a lot. And so while we're not writing that off, that's a possibility, it's going to be more challenging based on the early season injuries and underperformance of the two weakest positions on the roster. On the positive side, Noah Schultz looks like an animal. He has been outstanding, dominant, all the adjectives so far in AAA. In 3 appearances, 2 starts, and a piggyback on the night's opening day. He's thrown 19 strikeouts and allowed only 2 earned runs over 14 innings. And he's done it in a way that has looked particularly impressive. His last 2 outings, he's gone 5 innings. So he's starting to check some of those boxes that Chris Getz wanted to see out of him in order to get the call. Getz has went on Cap and Jay Hood on ESPN 1000, the White Sox flagship station, and kind of laid out a plan for these guys of the milestones he wants to see. Number 1 is getting deeper in games. Now, 5 innings, I don't know if you qualify that as deeper in games. He didn't give any specific inning counts, but seeing him go 5 innings, 2 starts in a row is a good start. The other thing you want to see is him getting through the lineup multiple times and getting into the third time through the lineup. Now, he's been so dominant through his 2 starts and his other appearance that even while he doesn't necessarily need to get through the third time through the order in order to pitch those 5 innings. So these are things to watch for as we go forward. As for when he'll get the call, if he keeps pitching like this, they'll have no choice but to bring him up in probably early May. But I expect, he can't pitch this well every start out. There'll be some struggles, but as long as he continues to show significant progress over last season, he looks like his dominant old self. And if that continues, I think we'll see him in May, which is earlier than I thought going in, but he's looked a lot better than he did towards this back half of 2025 before his injury. So I think we're going to see him in the next month, and that's super exciting because he is electric. He's got that wipeout slider, a very strong fastball, and a delivery that he hides the ball really well. And so I think it'll be hard for hitters to pick up his fastball as well. So keep an eye out for Noah Schultz. Hopefully, we just want to see him keep performing strong and growing. And if we can start to see him get in through that third time through the order, that's when we'll know he's getting really, really close to Chicago. On the happy note on the big league club, The team ends a just unbelievably bad losing streak in Kansas City. The White Sox had lost 14 straight games to the Royals in Kauffman Stadium, and that just seems outrageous, right? Like, I know they've been terrible the last couple years, but to lose 14 straight in Kansas City, it's not like we're talking about the Dodgers here or the Yankees. Kansas City Royals. So I'm glad the White Sox got that monkey off their back. You know, it will be really nice to see them if they could take 3 or 4 from the Royals this weekend. But a split would also go a long way towards building and building and building. And that's what this year is. It's all about building, and we need to see the White Sox continue to grow. So that's going to do it for this edition of Just Another Year Chicago White Sox. As always, go White Sox.